Welcome back to the League of Nocturne, your favorite show about all things darkness and darkness related, or at least that's how you would call it if you were on the side of Schalke in the previous game. It is, of course, Schalke versus Splyce. One final spot remaining, one world slot remaining nonetheless, but Schalke off to a rough game one. Definitely brutal as Splyce dominated in the mid to late game.
Well, let's see what adaptations get made. Schalke, because they lost, they get choice of side selection coming into game two, and they have chosen to stay on the blue side. I very much agree with what the analyst desk was saying. I feel like the early game was something that I had a bit of an issue with. There were also some doubts around Trick's performance on the Qiyana. I think that the Nocturne pick was just a great answer, and it really shut down what she tried to do because she wasn't able to find any ganks before level 6. If she had, maybe the game could have gone a little bit different, and perhaps Schalke think the same way. We're going to have to wait and see as we jump into draft for game 2.
Time to find out, has anything changed in the picks and bans, or will we get the classic salty run back in game 2 of the best of 5 to see if execution is the bigger side of the coin. Now, 1, I love this song. 2, Qiyana immediately going to be banned. You don't get to see it yet. That's because it's a surprise. There it is. Spoilers. As well as the Sejuani, so keeping constant on that one. Want to keep Trick off that comfort pick, his most played champion over the course of the entire year. So good to limit his options.
I'm going to make a bit of a prediction.
Okay.
I think Schalke will put more priority on the Skarner. We're going to go a little bit NA on the side of Schalke.
All right.
I don't think it's going to be quite first pick Skarner, like we often do see in North America, but I do think that it's going to be a slightly higher priority. I think a big comfort pick for Trick. I think it gives him level 6 options, and I think overall it just better fits the style of Schalke Null Fear. So that's what my expectations are.
This is my question to you, is how big of a deal is the Nocturne? Because, like, obviously you're excited about it. Obviously it's a fantastic looking performance from the side of Xerxe, but it's hard for me to account how much of the Nocturne looking good is actually the Nocturne pick versus anything else happening in game.
Well, I think Nocturne was definitely a big problem in game 1. It's tough because unfortunately we don't have like a lot of evidence, especially in Europe, of like Nocturne doing into a bunch of other matchups. I think that he is one of the few champions that just wins so many duels at level 6 just because of how much power and raw stats that he has available to him. So I think that it could be a problem, but it's not a champion that you necessarily first pick because there are ways of dealing with it. Especially things like Olaf are a really good pick into things like the Nocturne. So we'll have to wait and see. In any case, Kai'Sa going to be the lock-in first for Schalke. I think that's to be expected, going very LPL right now with the high priority on it.
There's like a lot of other stuff up. There's the Aatrox. This is, to me at least, I was caught off guard. You know, I expect something like the Akali, something like the Sylas, something like the Aatrox. It's seen a lot more priority. Kai'Sa, obviously, with the Zayaban, pick of the litter for AD carries.
This is it. I think Schalke assume that they're going to get Sylas anyway, because Splyce would rather not play it. So I think the idea was to first pick the Kai'Sa, because if they first pick the Sylas, then they give away Akali Kai'Sa once again, which is what Schalke don't want to do.
Oh,
so this was a bit of a test is what I think. So they prioritize the Kai'Sa, and then they see, okay, they're actually choosing to value the Gangplank. That's fine. Now we know we'll get Sylas regardless.
And it looks like they're going to pair with the Thresh as well. So actually matching the lane that took so much from them in the previous game, in those late game team fights. And interesting now because Splyce can only pick one half of their bottom lane. And it's Tahm Kench duty for Norskeren.
Oh.
That's what feels bad, man.
Yeah.
Normally very proficient on the playmakers, but this is... I mean, if Splyce want to slow the game down and they do have a GP, Tahm Kench is
I just think this champion has been nerfed so many times. I think if you're going to pick a defensive champion, Braum usually makes more sense for me. I don't think he's super strong in the current meta, but at least I think that he just, is stronger as a champion, and it's something Norskeren is very good at as well. So.
We got, you know, LPL on one side with the Kai'Sa first pick. We got LCK on the other side with the Tahm Kench lock.
And a high priority on the Gangplank as well.
It's an international sampler. That's all you can ask for. And interestingly here, they've banned away Kobbe's Jhin. Now, Kobbe notorious as one of the best, if not the best Jhin players in the league, but he never really gets to show it on stage.
But the moment they saw that Tahm Kench pick, they were thinking, oh, it's Jhin Tahm Kench. It could now be an Ashe. I wonder if they'll actually look to ban it, or they'll ban the Vayne. Something that he did play yesterday. Oh, okay, Varus also makes a lot of sense. A very common duo that we saw paired up with the Tahm Kench. So, two of the best AD carries that commonly go with the Tahm Kench have now been removed from the side of Schalke. So, demonstrating that they are familiar with their opposition, and they're now limiting the bot lane options.
And very concerning for the side of Splyce, because normally Tahm Kench does not really do anything to get you lane pressure. So, when paired with a Varus, something like a Jhin or an Ashe usually can balance that out a little bit. We'll have to see. The Ashe, of course, still up and available as the Olaf will be locked in from Xerxe. Once again, pressure on Xerxe to be the one member of this team that performs, that is aggressive in the early game to maximize this value of the champion. On the opposite side for Schalke, the Karma will once again be locked in. Most likely you have to feel going to the hands of Odoamne, and I'm going to be honest, the Lee Sin, not the biggest fan. Trick hasn't had the best mechanical split so far, but the Xin has looked great in his hands. The Trundle, though, excellent against both the Tahm, Kench, and the Olaf.
Okay, so no Skarner lock-in. It does make sense. I don't think you should pick the Skarner against an Olaf, just for the record. But what is quite interesting is we're seeing a very similar pattern from Schalke. A lot of the focus seems to be going around both Upset and Abbedagge. We expect a lot more ganks to be continuing to happen around the mid lane. I do think that... Oh, that's a Jinx. That's cool.
That's a Jinx.
We'll get to that in a second. I do think that the Trundle acts as a good answer to the Olaf. But when we look at Schalke's comp, I think it's another one of those comps that is like, it's a little difficult to execute. You're relying on picks or mispositionings from the side of Splyce in order to actually start fights. Their scaling is pretty solid. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Again, Kai'Sa, Karma, Sylas, very strong trio, very strong fundamental to build around. But I think that, once again, they're going to rely on objectives or mispositions in order to find the fights that they're looking for.
There's just a distinct lack of hard CC in this game, and it makes me concerned, honestly.
I mean, a very similar thing can be said for Splyce.
It's for both teams, really.
Yeah, but one of the things that Splyce have is the Gangplank ultimate is actually a really strong way to kick off these fights, and Olaf can just run at you, right? It might not be the most reliable engage tool, but it definitely acts as a way to start fights. And what we saw from Xerxe yesterday was he just built full tank. So he basically just suits up on loads of HP, he runs at the enemy, he draws a lot of attention and focus, and then he allows the rest of his team to come in from the backline. And one of the great things about Jinx is she does have a lot of range, and she should be able to just keep hitting you at arm's length. And she has decent peel because she has the Tahm Kench paired up with her as well. Yeah, slightly weird comps coming out from both sides. I will admit the Jinx, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily fit with what Splyce were kind of working with, but we'll see how it works out for Splyce as we jump into game 2.
Here we go. Very different drafts coming out. Once again, Schalke on the blue side, opposite side, Splyce on the red. Questions to be answered this time around. What can Xerxe do? Can he be the difference maker once again on next time on the Olaf? Or can Trick do a little bit more on the Trundle matchup that we used to see? I feel like last year this was the go-to matchup. This year.
So is this what it's like in World of Warcraft when a rogue suddenly attacks you from behind? I've never played, so I don't know.
No, what? Yes, they PowerPoint onto your screen and you click out because you're like, I'm trying to play. No.
Just saying.
I appreciate the effort.
Because that's what it looks like, you know, just like a rogue attacks you out of nowhere.
Norskeren going to be surprised as IgNar just zooms his way in here. If this hook hits, Norskeren might be forced to flash, but won't be. Remember how important early jungle vision was in the previous matchup. Very easy for Splyce to track the Qiyana last time, but Odoamne now going to be in trouble. The Olaf, one of the strongest level 1 champions in the game. Odo going to be forced to flash away. Xerxe.
No, it's not worth it. You already got the flash out from Odo, which is good enough. You should take that. Now they'll use this as an opportunity probably to get some deep vision down onto Schalke's side of the map because they already know that 2 wards were spent onto their bot side. Is he going to use any of his wards? No, he's not. All right, fair enough. It does mean that Schalke will have information as to where Xerxe is starting. I wonder if he's going to go for an invade. It looks like he's going to get a very hard leash into an invade on towards the bot side of the map. This will split the map up, allowing Upset and IgNar to have a lot of priority around this bot side of the map. Xerxe is probably going to be forced to just disengage and give this one away. Or he might just come to contest.
This is an adaptation here from Trick. Thought he would go to the blue buff, so did Splyce. That's why that vision is there. They don't know 100% Trick's here. They will now have spotted him out. Trick with red buff, though, could... No, it realistically cannot look to take the fight. Even taking AD from the Olaf on the back of that Chomp is just not enough.
But look at the bot lane. Look at the bot lane. Still level 1 for Upset and IgNar. Norskeren has made the roam up. IgNar still level 1.
This is exactly what Fnatic did to Schalke, and Schalke are now trying to do it to Splyce. Stepping forward, the smite does go down, but Xerxe is going to get it.
They can chase this now, but they're not going to.
And they're going to back off.
Mainly that was because Upset gets the roam up, but... Yeah, that's a huge time investment now for Trick that doesn't pay off. And now Xerxe, he gets to go clear his walls. And he could, if he wanted to, because of how quickly Olaf goes through the jungle, start making his way towards Trick's blue buff as well. And yeah, that definitely did not work out for Trick.
No, not whatsoever. Have to keep our eyes on the Trundle, of course, as we get later into the game. Can be a very powerful champion to set up ganks with, but now that he's failed to disrupt the Olaf in the early game, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him. And this feels like the second game in a row where Trick not off to a great start. And Xerxe maybe can turn this into something more.
Well, I mean, Xerxe should be very easily able to turn this into something more. Notice that he's very far ahead in terms of his jungle clear. So far, Trick has only done 2 camps. The 9 is there because he stole a little raptor, and little wolf, and that's why Xerxe is in a certain position. Now look, level 3, looking for an invade. Mid has push, top has push. What can Trick do?
Oh, level 3. Trick can try to steal with a smite, but the difference here is that where Trick didn't really have much kill pressure on Xerxe, Xerxe has a lot of kill pressure on Trick if they overextend here.
He's going to get information on where they are. He knows that the Gangplank is going to come down as well. He needs Humanoid to start making his way over. Humanoid is going to do a quick base. All in bot.
Kobbe is going to be in trouble. The platform from upset. There's a lot of damage. The Jinx is going to take a lot back. They do manage to take him down. The TP now coming in. Norskeren going to try to pitch for the kill. The Lantern is there. Pull him back out to safety. The TP now. The flay backwards is perfect from IgNar. Is going to be able to make it out. But no, Humanoid desperately fishing. IgNar is going to land the hook. Pulls him under the tower, but not the member that he wanted to hit. Humanoid goes invisible. Goes right back out. Norskeren gets out with his life to a beautiful turn from Splyce.
So Upset and IgNar try to force the all-in, and they successfully get a kill onto the Jinx. But as we were talking about it, Humanoid had just reset. It looked to me like he wanted to TP in and assist his jungler in stealing away the blue buff, but instead he TP's bot. He has to shift his priority, and it pays off because Splyce end up finding 2 kills off the back half.
Really well played in the end. Confident flashes forward. And the Tahm Kench, well, did lose out a little bit in pressure. Those extended fights still very strong even after the nerfs. Cannot afford to just stay in combat with him for too long.
And notice that Kobbe is actually very far ahead in the farm. I believe that wave is even slow pushing towards him. So yeah, we can see the wave's actually slow pushing.
Good hook.
Ooh, and a good hook does land in from IgNar. He's still able to close the gap. Just waits for the flay, and then the moment Flash comes through, they're able to find that kill. Beautifully played by IgNar. Kobbe can do very little. And then, of course, this is where the TP comes out from Humanoid. And they're just buying time, they're waiting. Notice that the full stacks of the acquired taste is there, and he uses that to jump in, try and set up the stun, along with Humanoid, who's able to find the kill.
And to be fair, it makes sense that you'd want to all in against the Jinx. She has the range advantage in lane, but you have the damage advantage. She can't realistically use traps or the zap very well in a fight like that. But now, Pillar goes down. Humanoid gonna stick around here. Has the Conqueror, so the longer they trade, the better this is going to go. IgNar spotted out as well. And honestly, right now, Splyce quite comfortable in this game state, and it looks like Schalke is struggling because Trick is level 3. Have to hope the level 4 is going to come out here on the back of this Scuttle Crab, otherwise things are going to go from bad to worse. Because Olaf's going back to a respawn jungle, does now get to level 4, so that's good news.
Okie dokie. So let's have a look at the map state right now. Notice that Humanoid has 2 waves up in farm. AD carry has 2 waves up in farm, and a lot of that came down to the setup in the waves. Because Abbedagge was forced to help his jungler, that's where he lost that farm. Humanoid then TP's bot, and that TP pays off massively in the sense that he gets 2 kills, or he assists with 2 kills rather. Abbedagge is then forced to TP back to lane. He's still a level down, and that means that he constantly has to concede push to Humanoid. This gives him the freedom to roam. This, because of this, then also gives Xerxe access into the river, and because he's Olaf, he can just start off the Drake. So all of these little plays that have been happening for Splyce, it looks like it's only an 800 gold lead, but Splyce actually gained so much off these small sequence of events that have happened, and now Schalke are looking to fight, but they can't go for this.
As level 6, can't just go right back in. He's going to fish off the support, goes right back in for Trick. Humanoid wants another one. It looks like a double, but they are going to get the kill of the Kobbe. Now Upset is running for the hills. The Zap will not connect. They need to back off. The tongue lash is there, spits him out, and that's just going to be it. Kobbe's going to walk him down. Running one more. The rocket, that's the double. Get excited, folks. Splyce dominating Schalke.
We just talked about this, Drakos. We just said that Splyce is in a fantastic position. Humanoid has his ultimate, he has a level advantage, the bot lane is in a better position, the Gangplank ultimate is available as well, and Schalke still tried to contest the Infernal. Yes, I understand that maybe you want to try and steal away because how important of a Drake it is, but you can't afford to go for this fight, especially when trying to set up a flank, because Splyce just attack the weak side of the flank, which is the 3 members coming in through bot side, who, of course, had no summoner spells because they invested everything into trying to kill Kobbe in the 2 versus 2.
And Splyce is playing so well, but I feel like Schalke just overstayed their welcome. And we talked about how, hey, the Tahm Kench is a little concerning. Yeah, Tahm Kench has been nerfed repeatedly, but if you're already winning, Tahm Kench definitely helps you win more. Makes it easier to dive, makes it easier to move around the map. And so while I will never advocate for a Tahm Kench pick, Tahm Kench is super OP now. They can go from lane to lane once he gets level 6. Jinx can just start destroying towers. If she gets any further ahead than this, Schalke might not even get a chance to get to the late game.
So, if our observers would be so kind as to flip over to the gold, you'll notice that there is a 1k gold gap between the two mid laners, there is a 300 gold gap between the top laners, and there is a 500 gold gap, 400 rather, between the two ADs. Splyce have, once again, a very strong early game, and we have to reinforce how different this is from yesterday's performance. This team was relying on going to 35, 40 minutes before they could end the game. But now they are challenging Schalke in the early game. They are successfully punishing their mistakes, and they're finding advantages as a result.
And I like what we're seeing. This was the evolution from Splyce that we wanted to see. And remember that their playoffs run was cut short by Rogue, so we didn't get to see really anything from them playoffs. It was a quick sweep for Rogue, and now we finally get to see Splyce come alive here, punishing Schalke left and right for these over-ambitious plays. And it just feels like Splyce starting to feel like a little bit of an inevitable force moving at you, and Schalke trying to do something, but just constantly turning against them.
This is a lot more of the Splyce from the regular season. This is the one that many fans looked at and thought, okay, I'd be fine sending this team to Worlds because they're playing very well, and a lot of it comes off the back of Xerxe's early aggression that normally results in Splyce having the advantage needed to get through the mid game. Now we see more fighting.
Pulling out the Tahm Kench can be an easy get out of jail free card. The pillar's there, but it's not going to amount to much. They don't really have any follow-up. And Kobbe and Norskeren are unafraid despite the man disadvantage. Humanoid now coming down. The Olaf is coming down as well. You can see why Schalke have started to back off. Dive might come through. Xerxe is very strong right now. He can't just walk under this tower. IgNar has to be careful with the hook. He does manage to connect on the Akali. That's going to be their ticket out of here. They need to get out to safety. Humanoid can go back in. Norskeren is there to save the day if needed, but they're just going to walk in. It's a split fight. Humanoid going to fish for one. Going to look for a second one. Upset now running for his life. Humanoid trying to chase. He's going to get it. It is not even going to cost him his life. Are you kidding me? Double kill. Going down for Humanoid, and this is a stomp.
And it is 3-0 in favor of Splyce. They pull off another dive, and it is off the back of a great roam from Humanoid. Abbedagge now trying to answer on the top side of the map. Let's see what Xerxe can do.
Honestly, it's do or die here. If he's not able to get something back, this is going to be disastrous for the team. Now fishing, the abscond is not going to work. The abduct will not connect. Vizicsacsi will go down in the end. Oh, taken out. Schalke going to get back, but it's just nothing. It's just not enough to balance this out. Exactly. It's 10 minutes, and that Kobbe's gotten all of those plates. This Jinx is going to go back and get her first item, maybe even part of the second item. Oh, Vedius, this is... Oh, yeah. Thank you, observers. That's a lot of money. And
now Odoamne could be dead.
Oh, but Humanoid may have overstayed. Lockup is there. Humanoid getting chipped out. Goes back. Now can come through. Trick can just start to chase him down. Oh, cool down to the left. He's running for his trick.
Yeah, he's getting it out.
That's
close stuff there. And you know, Drakos, we were fools. Because we doubted Norskeren's Tahm Kench.
We did.
This man is playing unbelievably right now. Now, obviously, we're looking at the Akali right now.
Look at the Tahm Kench. Look at the moves. Look at the plays. Norskeren, what was that?
He's doing what he can to provide peel. Obviously, in this play, it was all about the Akali, how he was able to zone away. Humanoid having a great performance. But I just want to bring attention to what Norskeren has been doing in this laning phase. The protection that he's been providing for Kobbe, the setups that he's providing for his team. I think that he's doing a great job, and I was skeptical of the Tahm Kench pit because I felt like that it would concede a lot of lane, but it's Norskeren combined with Humanoid. The fact that Humanoid is utilizing great teleports, finding fantastic roams. He executed what was a flawless dive coming out from Splyce. Like, these two really seem to be stepping up in a much needed performance as Worlds is on the line for both these teams.
I mean, it is, and this is exactly what we wanted to see. A 6K gold lead now for Splyce, 12 minutes. This is massive. And now the question is, how quickly can they close out? They have tools to do so. Abbedagge, if he commits to this, is going to be very sacked. There's a catfish right in the brush that isn't even needed. Goes right back in. Humanoid's going to grab the kill. Leaps forward on the trick. Now trying to fish for a little bit more. This Lantern's there. Not going to take it. TP now burned mid lane. Splyce happy to have that one because Jinx is just taking towers. Tower plates are still up. Jinx has gotten at least 8 plates at this point in the game.
The laugh spam coming out from Humanoid. Splyce is starting to feel it now. 6,000 gold is the lead that they currently possess. 2K difference between the two mid laners. And now you've got to start asking that question. Should they have maybe first picked the Akali? Should maybe they have put a little bit more priority on that champion, given his performance on it? He had his very solid game 1. He's now really feeling the confidence in game 2. Gunblade completed 12 minutes into the game. He was already killing everyone. Now he has a sword that can also shoot things.
This is...
It's crazy. He is so strong right now.
It's also a blade. That's a 2-for-1, folks. And it's hard
Oh
because
man, are they doing the 15 plates? They go, okay, Schalke trying to answer.
Plates. Vizicsacsi, if you kill someone here, it's so bad for this team, but it looks like Vizicsacsi will be taken out. They're finally able to grab a pick. He's chasing for it. One more shot, one kill, 360 no scope. No, will not happen. Vizicsacsi cannot find the kill. The parlay will not connect.
Oh, the body block of the rocket coming out from IgNar. So Schalke get 1 kill back, but what does it cost them? Everything. Drakos, all 15 plates have gone down. We have to look at the gold once again for Kobbe because he is sitting with a 3.5k gold advantage over his lane counterpart. This Jinx is online at 13 minutes into the game.
Schalke first picked this Kai'Sa, Vedius. They got their priority bot lane, and then they immediately got dunked. Yes, they had that beautiful engage on the bottom side, but the TP counted against them, and when push came to shove, Splyce outplayed them, and if you've ever played against a Jinx in solo queue, you know what happens the second she has a lead. You don't get to play anymore. She takes your towers, she kills you, or in this case, Akali kills you, and she continues to take your towers.
This is the big brain play from Splyce. If you snowball an early game lead hard enough, you can get to the late game sooner.
It's a 14-minute late game.
It's a 14-minute late game.
That's
what can you do?
That's a 2-item Jinx. They have a mountain.
It's Super Saiyan
Splyce
Splyce right now, Daniel Drakos.
We're going too fast. Slow it down.
Slow it down.
We have narratives to think of, Splyce. You can't do this.
We have to tell the Vizicsacsi story again. Wait, this is a great moment. Bring that up.
Wait. Kevin, you're listening back there? Cue the Vizicsacsi story. Vizicsacsi, longtime player, yet to go to Worlds. And what's happening? He is like the captain of the ship, quite literally, as he is Captain Gangplank in this game. And he's surviving as his team just dominates around him. He's contributing those Gangplank ults. It's great. I think Kevin missed the call. Normally I don't address him publicly.
But the thing is that he's a player that doesn't get resources, and his whole role and responsibility is to survive. And his Gangplank ultimates have been there to assist the likes of Humanoid and the bot lane of Splyce, who have been coming up clutch. Notice 5-0-3 for Humanoid, been involved in 8 of the 9 kills so far. Same for Norskeren, been involved in every single kill so far. Vizicsacsi often the point of attack because it's the only window of opportunity the Schalke can find as Splyce looking to extend their lead.
Big damage now coming in. The TP on the backside. This is the last chance for Schalke. If they do not win this fight, I think the game is actually just over. Schalke might even be dead. They don't even know what upset. Now steps forward. A lot of damage. Abbedagge in the backside takes the GPL. Can go and can look to get this fight kicked off. Vizicsacsi unstoppable. Actually takes the Olaf.
Humanoid.
Odoamne now running. Eyes on the Akali. If they get too low, they're all just going to instantly die to this Akali ultimate. Kobbe now retreating. Kobbe now on a rampage. Big damage coming in. There's Humanoid. Shuriken flip. Did it connect? Does not look like it. They're going to be able to walk out with their lives on this one, but Splyce not getting anything in the meantime, and just dominance once again.
So Humanoid did have an opportunity there to just keep pushing down mid, maybe even take a mid tower, but he recognized how dangerous this team fight was, so decided to roam down. Schalke not able to convert into anything as Splyce's AD carry finds a big crit in the middle of the fight. Ends up finding a kill, both teams then choose to disengage.
And before this game, 7,402 was Splyce's largest gold lead at 15. The split, I think they hit about 9K this game. So definitively the most dominant early game performance we've seen against Splyce. And this isn't against a struggling bottom team. This is against Schalke. This is a team that went to Athens, and they're just destroying them.
And again, this is the Schalke. Wow, this is the Splyce, rather, that we saw during the regular season, the one that finished 3rd during the regular season, the one that was looking to challenge the likes of G2 and Fnatic, and the one that many fans were excited about. So when they got 3-0'd by Rogue, it was to the surprise of many, but now a surprise by Schalke, because this team feels like they're starting to crumble. You think about the pressure, you know, we want to talk about storylines, like how many times has Upset come close to coming to Worlds and has failed to do so? Expectations from fans is this guy's a world-class AD carry. This is a guy that should be representing Europe on the international stage, yet here he is again in another gauntlet match where he is on the brink of being taken away from Worlds.
Yeah, and for Odoamne, the desire to get back, Trick, this will be the first time that he's played in Europe that he hasn't gone to Worlds or really any international tournament. Remember, his history up until this year was flawless. IgNar a similar story since his time with Misfits, so a lot of eyes on Schalke, kind of expecting more, but Splyce on the opposite side, I mean, similar stories. Once again, we already talked about Vizicsacsi, a guy who feels like has been denied so consistently, and while this is not his all-star carry performance, his team working around him, the Gangplank ults have been where they need to be, so this might be the time that he gets to get back, that Kobbe gets to get back to Worlds, and the rest of the team gets there for the first time.
So now we see Vizicsacsi just doing what he can to draw a lot of pressure towards the bot lane. I think Splyce's next best bet would actually be to look to play through top. I think that's a much easier tower to siege, especially given how many members are trying to help secure this bot tower. But I think Splyce feel the Humanoid can very comfortably win this 1v1, so they want to try and leverage numbers in order to secure this tier 2 in the bot lane. Unfortunately, Schalke are matching them with numbers, and Humanoid can't really approach the tower. As you can see, he's getting just pushed away from it, and while he is winning out on trades, he's not quite getting that down.
Vizicsacsi now the leap in, a lot of damage going on to the GP. The TP has now been used. The Schalke have overstayed their welcome. This will start to turn against them. The TP now canceled. We look for the side of Abbedagge. He's going to buy more time, but it might just cost him his life as he goes in. It does. Abbedagge stops the TP. He spends his life to do so. Can Schalke now win the fight instead? Pillar coming back for Trick shortly. He did as soon as he can. Is going to get it. Kobbe might just look to turn, though. The AoE rockets aren't going to come out to play. It's exactly what they need. They might turn it, but the damage is too much. He's going to get no! Only one kill, but still a hero performance from Kobbe. Almost turns the entire fight. Cannot get Triumph healing fast enough. May have taken over heal instead, and he's going to shake his head at that one.
Very nearly is able to turn that fight around in a 2 versus 3. I honestly feel like Splyce should have just committed to the fight a little bit earlier. I feel that given how strong this Jinx is, they would have been able to just run Schalke down, but they just wanted to buy time, allow Humanoid to pressure the tower in the top lane, but they don't convert it into anything. So Splyce, even though they have this massive gold lead, at the end of the day, they lose a fight, and Schalke keep their towers alive.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, as we look back at the play, you can see this felt like the fight that Schalke could have lost the game on. Once again, bottom lane tier 2 tower. But the important note here, Abbedagge canceling this TP is everything. Costs him his life in the end, but probably stops what would be a guaranteed teamfight win for Splyce. And as you said, maybe should have turned a bit sooner here.
But it's one of those situations where Splyce also could have just pushed down mid. They could have traded. The fact that so many members of Schalke were invested into bot, Splyce were like, okay, well, we'll take the fight because we're so much stronger. And then because the Akali never arrives, they can't get a successful fight. Look at these big crits. This is why I was sitting there thinking, okay, maybe they just turned sooner. Maybe they could have started winning, but they didn't feel that confidence. They didn't want to try and take the play. They tried to disengage. But again, like, Splyce need to be thinking of what can they be trading, because remember that for Schalke, the more fights and skirmishes they can find like this is how they actually claw their way back into the game. Splyce need to be trading these last-ditch efforts from Schalke into some form of objective. And now the Baron is up and alive. So this will likely force Schalke into that situation that Splyce are looking for.
It's 2 Mountain Drakes and a Jinx with 3 items that should fall very, very quickly. Humanoid kind of being the wall to stop the team from getting through. Trick burning his pillar a little bit early, and that means Splyce just get that one instantly. It is an Olaf and a Jinx. Very good duo to just destroy that this early in the game with double mount. Time to see what Splyce can do. Can they just close this game out cleanly and take us to a game 3, or does Schalke have the potential, have the items, the gold, to actually win a fight here?
I like that Xerxe is hanging around this top laner, allowing Humanoid to push in that wave. Gonna help clear out the vision as well. Kobbe and Norskeren gonna wait for the next wave most likely. See 4 members investing up towards top, see if they can find anything on the Xerxe. They will not. And the waves are not in a position right now for Splyce to actually trade this for any neutral objective, or any objective that they're looking for anyway. Why are they answering it?
They're gonna start chipping away at the Baron buff. Cannon minions still there, Odoamne getting lower and lower. Kobbe's ult is going to get body blocked by Abbedagge, and Vizicsacsi's on the bottom side in the meantime, so not able to break the base open, but slowly but surely taking down the last of these tier 2s.
So my only problem with what Splyce is doing right now is every time Schalke tries to do something, Splyce is matching, which I don't think they should be doing. They have the Baron buff, they have a huge gold lead, they should just be taking advantage of the fact that 4 people of Schalke went top, and they should be running down mid. They should be sieging onto those towers, because what's more important is just breaking into the base rather than trying to go for a fight.
I feel like I agree, Betty, but you know, you always have to take into account the pressure, the emotional factor. Yes, Splyce know they're insanely far ahead. It's 11k gold lead. Is Humanoid now looking for the retreat? But a single mistake and it could turn. Stolen Akali might be enough. Humanoid going to cut through. Abbedagge now dashing out. Upset on the hunt. Humanoid no shroud. GP ult comes in, but honestly fired a little bit short there. Vizicsacsi, though, continues in on the bottom side. We'll be able to break this tier 2. The Jinx is on the bottom side as well. They're just going to shred through that tower. Now they're going to fish to get into the base. Schalke need to commit. They either need to force
keep pushing bot. This is exactly what they want to be doing. See, Schalke now have to divide their resources. They burnt everything to try and find a fight bot. Now Schalke, Splyce have successfully broken into the base.
And this is kind of the disaster for the side of Schalke. They just don't really have enough reliable hard CC to force a fight or to pick off an individual member. We talked about it earlier, but this is where it really counts against them. They cannot force a fight reliably on their terms at this stage of the game, so Splyce just get to walk in, not really scared of any of the potential cooldowns outside of that pillar. Now that that's gone, free inhibitor, easy pickup for Splyce, and Trick rather, Xerxe just burying in these Baron creeps on the top side of the map, forcing someone to respond.
Yeah, nice. Much better from Splyce. They're finally able to break into the base. Now they only have to play through 2 lanes. And as a wave is stacking up in mid and they have a minute left on the Baron, they can start setting up for this one. TP gonna come through.
Going back. The Jinx, the pillar, not ultimately that effective. Stolen GP ult can dissuade them from pushing further. Very low cannon creep, but Jinx with a lot of range on that rapid fire cannon can poke pretty easily. 42 seconds left on the Baron. I think that they might get all 3 towers. Kobbe stepping forward, that's going to be at least one more. Schalke trying to hold on to something, need to find a fight. IgNar maybe with the perfect hook can get a fight kicked off, and Norskeren is there to say no. This Tahm Kench really dissuading any potential playmaking. Managed to pillar, Norskeren just gobbles him up, buys time. Humanoid now coming in. If they overcommit under the Jinx, they haven't killed the Jinx. This is going to be a disaster. The Olaf rampaging through the back line. Humanoid stepping forward, Kobbe untouched for now. Trying desperately to get the reset. If he kills Trick, this fight will turn in an instant, but it's too late already. Kobbe gets one. Splyce just going to play cleanup. Odoamne has to run for the hills. Vizicsacsi looks for a little bit of revenge here. Another inhibitor is going to fall. There's creeps in the base, and it's just going to be the game. Absolute dominance from Splyce here in Game 2. Schalke did not even get a chance.
Splyce with a fantastic performance in the early game, and so much praise has to go to Humanoid. Some fantastic teleport usage. Great roams coming out from him. And honestly, just an overall great performance on the Akali. Splyce now lead the series 2-0. They're 1 game away from securing a spot at Worlds, taking Vizicsacsi to his first ever World Championship. And Schalke now in a position that they were in last year.
And Vedius, we have another game on our hands where Schalke kick a playoff and Splyce outplay and punish. Last game, it was going bot lane against this Nocturne GP combo. This game, it was forcing the engage with the Thresh Kai'Sa, the theoretically superior 2v2, but where's Abbedagge? Where's that TP? Where does that go? Instead, it's Humanoid showing up bot lane, getting all those kills, and we know what happens once you start an Akali snowballing, once you start a Jinx snowballing. You just saw it happen on your screen.
So, one of the most fascinating things about this game is this whole game got decided by the level 2 play on the blue buff. And the reason why that's important is because by Trick trying to find that invade and failing, it then gave Xerxe the opportunity to create an invade on the enemy blue buff, which then dragged Abbedagge out from his lane in to try and assist. And because he gets dragged out, he starts to fall behind. Humanoid then gets an early base, and because of that early base, he's in a position to TP to bot with items to make that play happen. And that's where the snowball starts. And these cascading events, all off the back of a poor early game play, is what allowed Splyce to have their fastest game of the entire split.
22:45, shortest game. I think this one was a little tiny bit over. So second fastest game of the entire split. But overall, Vedius, I think this has to feel so bad for Schalke. On the one hand, Splyce on match point. Fantastic for them. They looked monstrous in Game 1 and Game 2, outside of a few fumbles. This, however, if I'm Schalke right now, I'm getting flashbacks. Because that level 2 play is how Fnatic blew them out of the water 2 games in a row. Now, only 1 win is standing between Splyce and a spot at Worlds 2019 as they look to close things out in Game 3. You do not want to miss it. Humanoid goes invisible.
Look at me, look at me. Hit. Did I hit someone? Nice, man. Woo! Let's go, boys!
Humanoid 74, Kobbe untouched for now. Trying desperately to get the reset. If he kills Trick, this fight will turn in an instant, but it's too late already. Kobbe gets one. Splyce just going to play cleanup. Odoamne has to run for the hills.
You don't have a chance against me. I can calculate 90 trillion moves in advance. Not fair. Not fair.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Again. We want a dose of this right now. It's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blast.